Right here is Chris Paul with the ball 30 feet from the basket. To the left of him is Stephen Curry. Watch here as Steph fakes the screen, CP3 draws both defenders and kicks it to Steph for 3. Yes, that is Chris Paul assisting Steph Curry in the year 2023. And not only did CP3 and Steph Curry look fantastic, but the Golden State Warriors absolutely dominated the Lakers in the first game of preseason, which wasn't just because of the old guys either.
Davis on the run out, the lob to Kuminga. Got clock at 8. Moody, little show and go, and dropping it in. They dare Podziemski to shoot the 3.
In just over a combined 70 minutes, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Brandon Podziemski combined for 50 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists, which included 4 3-pointers from JK. Yes, 4 of them. But before we talk more about that, after months of waiting to see how Chris Paul and the new-look Warriors would play, they didn't disappoint at all. And whilst it's great to see Steph and CP3 already building chemistry, the most important asset CP3 will provide this Dubs team is what he does in the pick and roll. And it didn't take long for him to show exactly what he can do. Watch here, CP3 gets the handoff from Looney, and this is just genius, as he brings the ball out in front of him to engage AD, before disguising his pass like a layup and giving Loon a wide open finish under the rim. Now 2 minutes later in the game, once again Looney gives Chris the ball, and this time he fakes the pass to fool Jackson Hayes before getting to his midi. This right here is what still makes Chris Paul impossible to guard in the pick and roll. The defender is always at his mercy, with his ability to disguise a pass as a shot or fake the defender out with a pass before hitting shot after shot. It wasn't just in the pick and roll where CP3 excelled though, but he was also matching the pace and running with the Warriors in transition, which some people questioned if he could do. Overall, the Dubs couldn't have asked for a better first game from Chris, putting up a casual 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, which is really impressive when you consider it was in less than 13 minutes of game time. And I'm not sure if anyone needs to hear this, but that guy Steph Curry, yeah, he still looks pretty good. In fact, the Warriors' entire starting lineup looked good, with Wiggs showing his ability to get downhill and draw contact, along with Clay showing some really promising signs on defense and in transition, despite not all of his shots falling. I mean, these guys did win a chip just over a year ago. I'm not too worried about them. But whilst everyone was focused on how Chris Paul would look alongside Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, people seem to forget that this is a make or break season for the Warriors' young players. And if this game is a sign of things to come, the league might want to watch out. JK's first touch of the game showed exactly why the Warriors haven't even considered trading him the last 2 seasons. Saric gives him the handoff, Kuminga hits a clever hesitation, and look at the verticality he gets on this layup. I don't want to exaggerate, but he genuinely looks like he's flying through the air without even trying. But it was this play a few minutes later that highlighted JK's improvement. Watch here as he has Prince isolated. He faces up before bumping bodies, absorbing the contact and dropping it in. And there was one part of this play in particular that stood out. JK was under control the entire time. No signs of losing the ball or forcing the shot, but just using his size and strength before finishing really softly. Compare this to post-ups from previous seasons, and even when JK has scored, his handle or touch has often looked a little bit rushed. On this play, everything looked completely under control. And this is huge, because if he can do this consistently, he's going to get to the line a lot, and teams are not going to be able to switch smaller players onto him. Now, with all of this being said, the one thing that would have stood out to Steve Kerr and the rest of the coaching staff is the fact he shot 4 of 8 from 3-point range. I'm no shooting form expert, but this looks pretty damn fluid to me. Not just from 3-point range, but also from the midi. And oh yeah, defensively, I don't think we should be surprised anymore. I mean, there are probably less than 10 players in the NBA that have the athleticism to make a block like this. Watch here as Christie crosses JK, and it looks as though he's got a clear path to the rim. I mean, Christie is at the rim, and Kuminga hasn't even got off the floor yet, but in an instant, he springs to life and swats it just as it's at the rim. It wasn't just Kuminga either. The Warriors bench was led by 3 players 21 years and younger, and not a single one of them looked out of their depth. Remember when Brandon Podziemski was called a bust after a handful of Summer League games? Well, in his first preseason game, he put up 11, 6 and 4, which included a nasty Euro step. Along with what he did on offense, it was the defense that was most impressive, drawing charges and getting in the passing lanes to cause deflections. Let's not forget, the main reason the Warriors drafted him was because of his shooting after shooting 44% from 3 last season in college. And he hasn't even scratched the surface of what he can do as a shooter, yet he looked completely at home in the first game of preseason. And speaking of looking comfortable, well, Moses Moody did Moses Moody things. What are those things, you might ask? The same things that led to Moody playing fantastic in last year's playoffs, knocking down threes at a consistent rate and also using his athleticism and skill to do much more. Like on this play where Moody is run off the three-point line by Prince, so he gets to the middle of the floor before stopping on a dime, turning and hitting a pure fadeaway. And it's his movement paired with his three-point shooting that is the reason he can be much more than just a spot-up shooter. Like here where he makes a great backdoor cut and finishes nicely. And let's stop right here. You guys saw that dime from Dario Saric? Yeah, we need to talk about Dario Saric, because for whatever reason, this signing has received no attention, and I'm telling you guys, he is easily one of the most talented bench players in the NBA. Don't just take my word for it, there's a reason Steve Kerr had him playing point center in his first Dubs minutes. It's also the quick decision making that is going to make Saric just a perfect fit for this Dubs team. You already saw the dime he dropped to Moody, but how about this play in transition, where Moody returns the favor, kicking it out to him, and because of Saric's three-point threat, Russell has to run at him, so he then dimes it to Kuminga, who missed an uncharacteristic layup. But that's a pass that you weren't getting from JaMychal Green last season. It's much more like the Warriors' current bigs like Kevon Looney and Draymond Green, or the Warriors' bigs in the past that have been successful like Nemanja Bjelica and Andrew Bogut. These guys that can make quick decisions are fantastic alongside the motion and movement that is the Golden State Warriors. I can't tell you how exciting it's going to be to watch Dario Saric dropping dimes to Kuminga and Moody. We've talked about what CP3 could do for these guys, but Saric can not only create for them with his playmaking, but teams also need to respect his three-point shooting, which just opens up tons of space for those guys to drive. Defensively as well, Saric isn't a liability. He's not a great shot blocker, but he moves his feet well, he competes, and he knows where he needs to be. And I've already said this, but the Dubs can get away with his lack of shot blocking when you have guys like GP2, Kuminga, Draymond, and Wiggins, just to name a few, all capable of protecting the rim as non-centers. I mean, that's exactly what Kuminga did on this play when he blocked Max Christie. It's only the first game of preseason, but if this is the new look Golden State Warriors, it's going to be a very, very good season.